The next slide looks at wrinkles and fins. This is where it starts getting a little bit more tricky because, you know, these will occur. Pipes are not always the diameter that they say they are, especially in brick pipes. It might vary throughout. A lot of different reasons for changing the sizing, which will in turn produce a wrinkle or a fin. You hear them called both. The ones that you see on your screen are shown as tight and are typically solid fins. And while they're not desirable normally, they are acceptable if they do not disrupt or impede the normal flow characteristics or the operation and maintenance of a liner. And that's what we're trying to do here is we're trying to let the inspectors know when they need to step in and when they can afford to work with the contractor. Because after all, he's working in a pipeline that he can only know so much information about, especially the non-man entry size pipes. The next slide will then show lifts. We talk about lifts. Some of you out there may have experienced lifts. There are many causes for lifts, and what we want to do is we want to make sure that the manufacturer recommended remedies are available to you so that you know, the student knows exactly how to take these. In many cases, if it's a soft lift, a very quick action by the contractor to repressurize the liner and then complete the cure is all that needs to happen in order to get a very satisfactory installation. In some cases where that can't be done or where the liner is already hardened in that lifted shape, it might require that that portion of the pipeline be removed and that a suitable repair be put into place. The next slide talks about bulges. Another thing that you see from time to time, again, remember, we said whatever is not a perfect rifle barrel will be reflected through. And you can see in this picture, there's a little bit of cosmetic items on the right. Looks like there was some mineral deposits on the joint, and you can only get so much of those off, and then you've got just a little bit of debris left back there, but certainly not objectionable. It's just having a realistic expectation of what it's going to look like. Obviously, if you're having a bulge that's lining over debris or foreign objects in the bottom of the flow channel, then the recommendation is going to be that you need to cut those out and produce a suitable repair. And finally, I just would show you one of the slides that we have on blisters. This may not be a typical blister, but we talk about all the different kinds of blisters that can occur on the inner film of the pipeline. And we try to show them as graphically as we can. We try to talk to them about blisters in the context that blisters should be cosmetic in nature and require no further action. However, if you have leakage through those blisters, then there is some cause for concern and more action is warranted. And finally, I look at overcut service connections, and we talk with the inspector action what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. What is unacceptable will typically depend specifically on the specifications or the contract documents that that inspector is working with. What we have seen in the past is if the connection cut requirements are required as a minimum of 95, maximum 100, then connections open to a size greater than 100, and I'm not sure the one in your picture counts for what, but repairs can be warranted. And repairs can simply be the installation of a connection hat. A lot of people refer to them as top hats. The installation can, or the repair can be the installation of a short liner and then recutting the connection, or as other recommendations are made and available by the manufacturer of the technology system. But obviously you don't want to leave it in this overcut condition because it takes away from the quality of the finished liner. And finally, we talk to them at length about physical property testing. Very important. It's very, very much needed that the contractor or the owner verify the CIPP physical properties and wall thickness and that they find that they're in compliance with the contract documents. And this needs to be done through taking samples and the implementation of a chain of custody to taking the sample to an independent third-party lab. This is a very important inspector action, and we really spend a lot of time in samples, how to take samples, how to read samples, and make sure that your specifications are strong in that arena. Jerry?
Thank you, Ed. This is Jerry again. There's 2 more chapters in the program, which typically occur the second day, just before the examination. Chapter 4 is entitled Writing and Understanding Performance Specifications for CIPP. The purpose essentially is for the inspector to learn about some of the key aspects of performance specifications and what he or she needs to know to ensure that the customer receives a quality installation for the product specified. This chapter typically will range anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. Again, it depends on the interaction and the size of the class and the number of questions. Chapter focuses on what inspection requirements and quality control should be included in the specifications for the inspector to be able to perform his specified duties on the construction site. It gives the inspector some insight to go back to the specification writer and maybe influence that some of these may be included, some of these requirements be included in the specifications. Inspectors will understand that the contract specification requirements are his or her guidelines for ensuring that a CIPP is installed as required. Just as an example, we do include a sample copy of a performance specification guidelines in the addendas in the back of the book, which is a specification that was prepared for NASSCO several years ago, and it is a performance specification specific to CIPP. Chapter 5 is entitled Pipeline Renewal Technologies and Their Applications. Again, the purpose is to provide the inspector with an overview of trenchless technologies other than CIPP. The chapter typically will range from an hour to 2 hours of instructions, again, depending on questions. The inspectors will learn about technologies other than CIPP that require inspection. As part of Chapter 5, the instructor will discuss the Trenchless Assessment Guide for Rehabilitation. This is a software program for the selection of trenchless technologies that fit a specific set of parameters. The instructor will illustrate how to use a software program. Typically, we'll put it up on the screen. We'll have each of the students follow through the process of being able to evaluate which technologies are applicable to a specific set of criteria. The TAG program provides solutions for the following: sanitary, storm, and combined sewers, pressure potable, non-potable pipelines, lateral sewers, and also manholes. Just a quick thought on the classes themselves. There's classes being offered essentially all over the U.S. We've completed classes at 9 locations from California in the west to Massachusetts in the east. Nine have been completed. Over 150 inspectors have been trained to date. Currently scheduled classes are in Sacramento, which will be on May 26th and 27th. There's still some seats open for that. Raleigh, North Carolina on June 8th and 9th, which is currently being put together. And then Pittsburgh is in the formation stage. We just need to finalize the dates for that. Of course, additional locations and class dates will be posted on the NASSCO website as they are determined and scheduled. So you need to check periodically to see if a course is coming up in your particular area. The other thought is if you wish to host a class, which many of the classes that have been completed to date have been hosted either by an engineering company, by a municipal agency, or a municipality. It's easy enough to do. Essentially, a class host, you need to sign up 15 students for the course, provide a facility and the computer equipment to be able to, do the presentation. And for that, you receive one free student registration. In order to do that, you would contact Heather at NASSCO.org, and she sets these programs up if you decide to host a class.